हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमोऽयं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनीति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So continuing our discussion on the 18th chapter, we are coming very close to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna, yesterday we discussed, Krishna is talking about how one can come to the platform of liberation, Brahma Bhut. Liberation means he has become self-realized. Buddhya Vishuddhya Yukto. One whose intelligence is purified. Okay. So now having come to the Brahman platform. So now Krishna will speak about how he progresses further from the Brahman platform, further toward the realization of the super soul, and then gradually to the localized aspect super soul, and then the personal aspect of Bhagavan. Verse number 54. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kamshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Labhate Para. So one who has come to the stage of Brahma Bhut. If you see the last verse, it was Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One who comes to the platform of Brahma Bhut. Brahma Bhut means he has realized himself as the soul and he has eternal existence. So thus, one who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. So he is Brahma Bhut. He's already realized, he has realized himself as the eternal, and he has also realized the Supreme as the eternal. Such a person is first symptom of a person who is self-realized, that is Prasannatma. He is always joyful. He is always rejoicing with him. He is never Parishan Atma. Everyone in this material world is Parishan Atma. He is having so many difficulties, so many troubles, and his mind and heart is always agitated. But here Krishna is saying the first symptom of a person who is self-realized is Prasannatma. What are the further symptoms? Na shochati. He never laments. Lamentation is normally for those possessions or those relationships or those things which he had in the past and which he does not have now. So that which has been lost. So people are living in their past and lamenting about what they lost. So that is shochati. People are not able to live in their present life. They are lost in they're absorbed in the past, and they are lamenting for what they have lost. So a self-realized person is not absorbed in his past. Na kankshati. Nor is he hankering for anything which he does not have. People are thinking about future, what they will have more in their future. But here, a self-realized soul is free. First, he is always joyful. He is satisfied with what he has. He never laments for what was lost, and he never hankers for what he desires in the future. And such a person is Sama. Sama means is always equipoised, is neutral. Sarva Bhuteshu. So how he conducts himself is Sama Bhuteshu. Sarva Bhuteshu. Sama Sarva Bhuteshu. And Mad Bhakti Labhate Para. And in this state, there is all possibility that he can perform pure devotional service. Who can perform pure devotional service? One who is internally joyful, one who is not lamenting for what is lost, nor is he desiring or hankering for what he does not have and he wishes to have in the future. He is equipoised to all living entities, Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu. Then that is the platform, the transcendental platform for one to be engaged in pure devotional service. Okay, this is the verse. Let us see Srila Prabhupada's commentary. Very, very important verse, very famous verse. To the impersonalist, achieving the Brahma-Bhuta stage is becoming one with the Absolute. That is called the Sayujya Mukti, or oneness. Becoming one with the Absolute is the last word. But for the personalist or pure devotee, one has still to go further to become engaged in pure devotional service. This means that one who is engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is already in a state of liberation called Brahma-Bhut. See Prabhupada's expertise. So Prabhupada is confirming that one who is already engaged in pure devotional service is at the liberated platform. Not ordinary devotional service or any devotional service. Prabhupada is talking about pure devotional service. Pure devotional service is already free from hankering and lamentation. Oneness with the Absolute. What is the oneness? We have discussed so much. Ekatvam Anupashyati. What is that oneness? Oneness of the individual's mission with Krishna's mission. He does not have any separate existence. His existence is to fulfill the purpose of the Supreme Lord. So he is mere an instrument. So that is oneness. There is no difference in desire and there is no difference in aspiration or activity. He is completely and perfectly being utilized by the Supreme as his own instrument to perform his own act, his own mission. Without being one with the Supreme, the Absolute, one cannot render service unto him. This is very important. Without being one with the Supreme, the Absolute, one cannot render service unto him. Why? Why Prabhupada has to say so? That without being one with the Absolute, in oneness, one cannot render service unto him. Can someone explain what it means by oneness with the Supreme? Without being, Prabhupada is talking about oneness also, and Prabhupada is talking about service also. So oneness means that there is no difference, and service means that there is individuality. Because they both become one, then who will offer service to whom? So who can explain this statement of Srila Prabhupada? That without being one with the Supreme, the Absolute, one cannot render service unto him. What is the purport of this purport? We have discussed this many times in the past. Yes, Manoram Prabhu?
Prabhuji, I think I'll try, Prabhuji. This, what I understood, one in oneness, one understands Krishna's supremacy. He is the Supreme Lord. So he comes under the service attitude. Unless until one considers Krishna as the supreme, then he will not render the service fully. So
But it's talking about when you were saying supreme, the other is subordinate. So where is the oneness? Without being one with the supreme, the absolute one cannot render service unto him. You have to take it further. Yes, Sonika.
Prabhuji, oneness here means the goal and the way of achieving the goal.
Very good. That means there is no difference. That means whatever the Lord desire is the desire of the devotee. And however way the Lord wants to utilize the devotee is willing. He becomes a mere instrument. Unless and until, see, we use the instrument. No? We use spoon, we use knife. So how do we use them? The way we want, we utilize them. When we want, we utilize them. And we don't want, we put them back. That means they have no other disposition or position other than our own position. That is the perfect oneness. As you said, in terms of goal, in terms of mission, in terms of action, in terms of aspiration, everything is the same. Very good. In the absolute conception, there is no difference between the served and the servitor. Prabhupada is giving another revolutionary statement, even more mind-boggling. Prabhupada says, in the absolute conception, there is no difference between the served and the servitor. To whom is Prabhupada equating? Prabhupada is equating the Supreme Lord with his servant. He said there is no difference between the servitor and the served. Yet the distinction is there in a higher spiritual sense. In the material conception of life, when one works for sense gratification, there is misery. But in the absolute world, when one is engaged in pure devotional service, there is no misery. What is there? Is prasannatma. The devotee in Krishna consciousness is nothing for which to lament or desire. Since God is full, a living entity who is engaged in God's service in Krishna consciousness becomes also full in himself. Because he is complete, he is full, so he does not need anything from the outside world. So there is no question of any hankering, or there is no question of any lamentation for him. He is just like a river cleansed of all dirty water. You know how the river is cleansed of the dirty water? Anyone knows how the river gets cleansed? Dirty water? Yes, Sonika?
By continuous flowing and replacing it by pure water.
Come again. By containers flowing?
By continuous flowing, Prabhuji, and replacing the dirty water by the pure water.
No. Not like that mechanical method. Anyone else who has heard from Shastra?
Can I try once, Prabhuji, from Shastra?
Okay.
Prabhuji, it was told that whenever Vaishnavas took bath in rivers, it is got pure.
That is true. That is true. Tirtha kurvanti tirthani. That is true. But in normal condition, how the rivers get cleansed of the dirty water? You want to do the research? Find out. Find out, we will discuss that tomorrow. Because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he is naturally always joyful. He does not lament for any material loss or aspire for gain. Why? Because he is Brahmabhut. He is fully satisfied. He has no aspiration. Because he is full in the service of the Lord, he has no desire for material enjoyment. Because he knows that every living entity is the fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore eternally a servant. He does not see in the material world someone as higher and someone as lower. Higher and lower positions are ephemeral, and a devotee has nothing to do with ephemeral appearances or disappearances. For him, stone and gold are of equal value. See his level of consciousness. This is the Brahma Bhoot stage, and this stage is attained, Prabhupada says, very easily. This stage is attained very easily by a pure devotee. In that stage of existence, the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Brahman and annihilation of one's individuality becomes hellish. Akash pushpayate kevalya narkayate. The idea of attaining the heavenly kingdom becomes phantasmagoria. And the senses are like serpents whose poison teeth are broken. As there is no fear of serpents with broken teeth, there is no fear from the senses when they are automatically controlled. The world is miserable for the materially infected person. But for a devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky. The highest personality in the material universe, another big mind-boggling statement. See again, the highest personality in the material universe is no more significant than an ant for a devotee. Such a state can be achieved by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who preached pure devotional service in this stage. This is the Brahma Bhuta Bhakti. One who has realized his eternal existence and also the eternal existence of the Supreme Lord, his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, and is fully satisfied. I have put here reference Srimad Bhagavatam 4:9-29. Let us see this verse. Brahma Bhut. Manoram Prabhu, can you share the screen? 4:9-29. Don't remember which verse is this. Come down to the translation. Maitri Uvacha. Maitri answered, Dhruv Maharaj's heart, which was pierced by the arrows of harsh words of a stepmother, was greatly aggrieved, and when he fixed upon the goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from the material world, but the end of his devotional service. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared before him, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind. I don't remember why I have put this word. So here it is being said that Dhruv Maharaj was ashamed of what? Of the material desire that he had in his heart, in his mind. Okay. Let us see what is there in the purport. So Prabhupada talks about the prayers of Radha Kulshekhara. My dear Lord, I don't want any position of sense gratification in this material world. I simply want to engage in your service perpetually. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya in 6th Ashtakam also prayed, my Lord, I do not want any amount of material wealth, na dhanam, na janam, na sundari. Only thing I want is that I may engage life after life in your service. In this verse, Maitreya replied to Vidir that Dhruv Maharaj, influenced by a revengeful attitude towards his insulting stepmother, did not think of mukti, nor did he know what was mukti. Therefore, he failed to aim for mukti as his goal. Come down. In life, but But a pure devotee also does not want liberation. He is a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, and he does not demand anything from the Lord. This position was realized by Dhruv Maharaj when he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead present personally before him. He was elevated to Vasudev platform. The Vasudev platform refers to the stage, okay, at which material contamination is conspicuous by his absence only. Or in other words, where there is no question of the material modes of nature, goodness, passion, and growth. One can therefore see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of the Vasudev platform, one can see God face to face, and the Lord is also called Vasudev. Okay. Come down. Let me see in the final. Come down further. Wait a minute. Okay, so here it is. Therefore, Vaishnava philosophers do not accept Sayuji Mukti to be within the category of Mukti. According to them, Mukti means transferal to the loving service of the Lord from one's position of serving Maya. Lord Chaitanya also said in this connection that the constitutional position of the living entity is to render service to the Lord. That is real Mukti. Mukti hitva anita rupa swarupena vyavasthiti. When one is situated in his original position, giving up artificial position, he is called mukta or liberated. In the Bhagavad Gita, this is confirmed. Anyone who engages in, this is the point. In rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord is considered to be a mukta or Brahma Bhuta. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee is considered to be on the Brahma Bhut platform when he has no material contamination. In the Padma Purana, this is also confirmed. Mukti means engagement in this service of the Lord. So this is the Brahma Bhut stage, where there is a Prasannatma, na sochati, na kankshati. He is able to see everyone with equal vision, and then one qualifies to perform pure devotional service. Very high standard for one to perform pure devotional service. One has to come to the Brahma Bhut platform. He has to be liberated from the influence of the lower modes. And at Brahma Bhut platform, what kind of bhakti he performs? This is the next verse. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yashtasmi tattvata tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tat anantara. So Bhaktya means by pure devotional service. Mam is unto me, Krishna is speaking about himself, and Abhijanati means to know him. So how one can know Krishna? The goal, the purpose is to know Krishna. And here Krishna is revealing what is the only way that one can know Krishna is by performing devotional service unto him. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. How you can know? Yava yash chashmi tattvataha. Tattvata means in truth, in actuality, in factuality. One can understand me as I am, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion. We can enter into the kingdom of God. Gyatva, tato mam, tatvato gyatva. He can know me as the Lord is. He can know me as I am. That is tatvato gyatva, as he is, factually. And knowing him, he enters into his abode. Vishate means to enter. Anantaram, on his abode. So who can achieve the abode of the Supreme Lord? Who is at the Brahma Bhut stage. Who is free from hankering and lamentation. Who is self-realized. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and his plenary portions cannot be understood by mental speculation nor by non-devotees. It's very special. Prabhupada emphasizes many times that there is no possibility of any non-devotee to have any understanding of Krishna or even his plenary portions or portions of his plenary portions, of his incarnations, of his avatars. No one. If anyone wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has to take to pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. So that means how one can know the Supreme Lord is through the access and the mercy of a pure devotee. Otherwise, the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will always be hidden. Prabhupada is giving an emphatic statement that not even once or not even little one can know about the Supreme Lord. As already stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.25, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, he is not revealed to everyone. No one can understand God simply by erudite scholarship or mental speculation. Only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is. And then Prabhupada has to mention, university degrees are not helpful. The way we approach the academic books, that kind of approach will not serve here or work here. There is one beautiful verse in the 8th chapter, 28th verse, that how Krishna cannot be known by all the processes, by all other processes. Want to know that verse? 8.28. Last verse of the 8th chapter. Vedesha yagyeshu tapashu cheva daneshu yat punya phalam pradeshkam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upeti chadya. This verse says that a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying of the Vedas. It is already included. He does not have to separately study the Vedas. Performing sacrifice, undergoing austerity, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this. And at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. That is what today's word, the 55th word is saying. Prabhupada is speaking here that only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is, and university degrees are not helpful. One who is fully conversant with the Krishna science becomes eligible to enter into spiritual kingdom, the abode of Krishna. Prabhupada's word. One who is fully conversant about Krishna science. Science about Krishna. Devotional service is there, and as long as devotional service exists, there must be God, the devotee, and the process of devotional service. Three things. Devotional service exists. Who serves is the devotee. He will also exist. And whom is he serving? The Supreme Lord. He also exists. So all three things together. Such knowledge is never vanquished, even after liberation. Liberation involves getting free from the concept of material life. In spiritual life, the same distinction is there. The same individuality is there. Distinction is there, that is difference. Difference between the servitor and the served. Although they are both on the absolute plural, there is no difference in Ami that both have eternal existence. Both have individuality. The same distinction is there, the same individuality is there. But in pure Krishna consciousness, one should not mistakenly think that the word Vishate enters into me, support the monist theory, that one becomes homogeneous with the impersonal Brahman. No. Vishate means that one can enter into the abode of the Supreme Lord in one's individuality to engage in his association and render service unto him. I was just seeing the photographs and one video of our Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj left yesterday night to go to the US. And this was the photographs of Maharaj landing in the US. I saw one devotee who was accompanying Maharaj. He has been serving Maharaj for last more than 1 year. Very, very sincerely. Every day I watch him. So I saw him also there. I'm very pleased to see him. A simple Odia boy, Odia devotee, but very sincere in his service towards Guru Maharaj. Because of his sincerity, wherever Maharaj is going, he is going. Now he has gone to US. Others would try to go to US for many times, many effort they would have to go. But here, no extra effort is required. Only one effort. Effort is to serve the pure devotee. And then one can have the association and also the privilege of what is there, the Supreme Lord, that is available to the servitor. Because he is on the same platform, the Supreme Absolute platform. There is no difference. And whatever, see what is the difference? There is no difference. Whatever was the flight in which Maharaj was traveling, he was traveling. Who are devotees came to see of Maharaj. He got reception from them, and he will get the same reception when he will reach the US. I'm giving you one crude example to understand. And how is he getting this privilege? How is he getting this position? Because of rendering selfless service, pure service. The Prabhupada is saying here that the word Vichate enters into me. One should not mistakenly think that the word Vichate enters into me supports the monist theory that one becomes homogeneous. Homogeneous means that with merge, the individuality is lost. With the impersonal Brahman, no. Vichate means that one can enter into the abode of the Supreme Lord in one's individuality to engage in his association and render service unto him. And Prabhupada gives the example. For instance, a green bird enters a green tree, not to become one with the tree, but to enjoy the fruits of the tree. Impersonalists generally give the example of the river flowing to the ocean and merging. This may be a source of happiness for the impersonalist, but the personalist keep his personal individuality like an aquatic. Even if the river is going and merging in the sea, in the river there are many aquatics, isn't it? So they also enter into the sea. So do they merge in the sea or they maintain their individuality? The Prabhupada is giving a simple logic here. We find so many living entities within the ocean. If we go deep, surface acquaintance with the ocean is not sufficient. One must have complete knowledge of the aquatic livings in the ocean depths. Because of his pure devotional service, a devotee can understand the transcendental qualities and the opulence of the Supreme Lord in truth. As stated in the 11th chapter, only by devotional service can one understand. Very popular words. I have recited this verse many, many times from the 11th chapter. Which verse is this? Prabhupada is mentioning here. As stated in the 11th chapter, only by devotional service can one understand the Supreme Lord. Very famous verse from the 11th chapter, where Krishna is concluding the Vishwarup. Yes, Ravindra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Only
11:54. 11.54.
Bhaktya tu ananya shakya aham evam vidho Arjuna. Then what is the next line?
Jnatu drashtu
Drashto
vishnu
tatvena.
tatvena.
Gyatu means one can know me in full. Drishtum, one can see me face to face as I am. Then tatvena. Gyatum drishtum tatvena. Pravishtum cha parantapa. And he can enter into my mystery of my abode. He can know me in full. He can see me face to face as I am. He can enter into my mysteries and he can be with me on my abode. Very good. Only by devotional service can one understand. The same is confirmed here. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service and enter into his kingdom. There is one more verse where Prabhupada is speaking that there is no difference between the abode of the Lord and devotional service. Why? Because they are both on the absolute platform. So one who is engaged in performing selfless devotional service, that means he has already attained the kingdom of God. That is the special prerogative of a devotee who is engaged in pure devotional service. You want to see that verse? This is the final verse of the second chapter. Where Krishna is saying that there is no difference between pure devotional service and the kingdom of God. Open, Manoram Prabhu. So who can know God? Who can see God face to face? One who is already been accepted and cleared by the Lord. And how he has been accepted by the Lord? Because of his pure devotional service. I'll give you one example today. I had a very amazing experience today. How what Lord does for his devotees, very special arrangement. Quickly open that verse, 2.72. Come down in the second paragraph. Further down. Wait. Yes, here it is. There is no difference. See the first line, the top line. Come down one more line I want to see because it is related to the previous verse. One little up. Yeah, wait. Prabhupada says, before ending this life, if one fortunately becomes Krishna conscious, he at once attains the stage of Brahm Nirvana or Brahma Bhuta is the same. There is no difference between the kingdom of God and the devotional service of the Lord. Again, I am reading. There is no difference between the kingdom of God and devotional service of the Lord, since both of them are on the absolute plane. To be engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord is to have attained the spiritual kingdom. In material world, there are activities of sense gratification, whereas in the spiritual world, there are activities of Krishna consciousness. Attainment of Krishna consciousness, even during this life, is immediate attainment of Brahman. And one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. The most important thing is for the jiva to have an opportunity to render devotional service. Selfless, pure devotional service. If you will, again, if you will scrutinizingly study the 9th chapter, which is confidential knowledge, Srila Prabhupada gives a miraculous statement where he says that the most confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. I will not show it, you find out. The most confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. So if one has the opportunity of devotional service and he continues the devotional service, He is already liberated. Okay, let me complete this. Because of his pure devotional service, a devotee can understand the transcendental qualities and the opulence. Okay. After attainment of one's spirit, devotional service begins. Okay. Now see the last paragraph. After attainment of Brahmabhuta stage, Mad Bhakti Labhate Pranam. At the stage of Brahmabhuta, then pure devotional service begins. Very interesting how it begins. After attainment of Brahmabhuta stage of freedom, you are there with me on the same page, same para. Please pay attention. Very important. After attainment of the Brahmabhuta stage of freedom from material conceptions, devotional service begins by one's hearing about the Lord. See, this is at the Brahmabhuta stage. The vidhi does not change. The vidhi is the same. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhu Kabu Noe Shravanadi Siddha Chitte Karaya Udoe. Chitan Chaitanya, Chitan Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatan Goswami that Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhu Kabu Noe. It is not to be cultivated. It is sadhu kabinon. It is already there. So how to revive it, how to manifest it? Shravanadi Suddha Chitte. By the process of attentive hearing. Karo Udoy. It can manifest. Like the sun is there. It is there in the sky. It is always there. But many times we see there is a covering of the cloud. So what is to be done? The covering of the cloud has to be removed. So how that covering is removed? By the process of Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta. The Prabhupada is speaking here. Devotional service begins by one hearing about the Lord. When one hears about the Supreme Lord, automatically the Brahma Bhuta stage develops. We don't have to do anything extra. What we have to do? We have to continue to hear. Jnane prayase udapasya namante eva jivanti sat mukharitam bhavadiya varta sthane sthitam shruti-gatam tanvat manobhi yo prayaso ajita jito apitra lokyas. 10.14.8 10th canto, 14th chapter, which is Brahmaji's prayer. Most likely this is the 8th verse or the 9th verse. Jnane prayase udapasya namanta eva jivanti sat mukharitam bhavadiya varta sthane sthitam shruti-gata tanvat manobhi ye prayaso ajita jito apitra lokyas. Find out. Jolamani Prabhu, you see in the index quoted verses. No, okay, no, not this one. This is Tattenu Kampa. Okay. You come to the translation. Come to the translation. Just go one back. Don't enter into the verse. Just show me the translation. Translation. Not here. Not here. One step back. One step back, you will see all the translation. Okay, I'll tell you which one it is. Brahma's prayer. Click, putting. 10:14:3. Sorry, this is 10:14:3. It is Tattenu Kampasu Sunikshana. 10:14:3. Show this verse. If you will study the conversation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Sripad Ramanand Roy. Yeah, this is the verse. Show the translation. Jnane prayase udupasya namante eva. It says those who even while remaining situated in their established social position, wherever you are, whether you are a Shudra or whether you are a Stri or whether you are a Brahman, whatever your position is, throw away the process of speculative knowledge. How? With their body, words, and mind, offer all respects to the description of your personality and activities. So, what is this? How to offer respect to description, dedicating their lives to these narrations. That is, which is the process of hearing, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees. Certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. Come down. Very beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciple. So see, here the word udapasya clearly indicates that one should not even slightly endeavor to understand the absolute truth by the process of mental speculation. Udapasya means to throw off, to give up. So what they have thrown off is jnane prayasa. The prayas or the endeavor to know God by speculative process or by self-study. So, or by the process of mental, for it is invariably carries one to imperfect, impersonal understanding of God. The word Jivanti indicates the devotee who always hears about Lord Krishna will go back home, back to God. Very simple. You don't have to do big. You don't have to build a temple. You don't have to have a congregation of 5,000 people. This is what Brahmaji is saying. That a devotee who always hear about Lord Krishna will go back home, back to Godhead, even if he can do nothing except maintain his existence and hear topics concerning the Lord. There is nothing more to do. Close it. Read it. Very beautiful purport. The most powerful and empowered process. What one has to do to come to that stage of Brahma Bhut Prasannatma is to continue hearing. Prabhupada is saying, when one hears about it, see how Prabhupada's disciples, they have extracted the inner meaning of what Srila Prabhupada. See how that purport is inspired by the purport that we are reading from Bhagavad Gita. Hear very carefully. When one hears about the Supreme Lord, automatically the Brahma Bhut stage develops. The material contamination, greediness, and lust for sense enjoyment disappears. And as lust and desire disappear from the heart of a devotee, he becomes more attached to the service of the Lord. By such attachment, he becomes free from material contamination. In that state of life, he can understand the Supreme Lord. In which state? When he is free from lust, when he is free from greed and all contaminations. This is the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam also. After liberation, the process of bhakti or transcendental service continues. The Vedanta Sutra 4.1.12 confirms this. Apranayat tatrapi hi drishtam. This means that after liberation, the process of devotional service continues. In Srimad Bhagavatam, real devotional liberation is defined as restatement of the living entity in its own identity, its own constitutional position. The constitutional position is already explained. Every living entity is part and parcel, fragmented portion of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his constitutional position is to serve. After liberation, this service is never stopped. Actual liberation is getting free from misconception of life. Very, very nourishing purpose. This is the divine ecstasy of Srila Prabhupada, which is pouring his heart in all this purport. Hare Krishna. Any question? There is a verse, there's the first one of the verse of Vedanta Sutra which says, Anavriti Shabdat. What is that? Anyone knows what is Anavriti Shabdat? Very popular aphorism of Vedanta. You would have heard so many times Prabhupada also quotes Anavriti Shabdat. That means liberation, yes.
Liberation through sound vibration.
Yes, liberation through sound vibration. That is the Brahma Bhuta state. Liberation by sound vibration. And what we have to do? We have to hear Bhagavad Gita. Hear with heart. And Krishna already says, Tesham eva nukampartam aham ajnana jatam. Okay, so I'll stop here. And who will recite the 15th chapter today? Pradeep has done, and Raminder and Priyanka Mataji have done. So who will volunteer today? Quickly. We are already above 9. Okay, go ahead, Dayashil Prabhu. Who is going to be the next tomorrow? Please decide and recite. Okay, you recite, Dayashil Prabhu. You and Ramya.
श्री भगवान उवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधः शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित् अधस्य ऊर्ध्वं प्रशस्ततस्य शाखा गुणप्रवर्धा विषया प्रबालम् अधस्य मूलानि अनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूप अस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चापि न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अस्वत्थं येन सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा तथा पदं तत् परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूय तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यथा प्रवृत्ति प्रशस्ता पुराणी निर्माण मोह जित संग दोष आध्यात्म नित्या विनिवृत्त काम द्वंद्वे विमुक्त सुख दुख सम्मे गच्छन्ति अमूढ़ पदम अप्यमृत न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावक यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममेवांश जीवलोके जीवभूता सनातना मनसष्टानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीर यत् अवाप्नोति यच्चापि उत्क्रमाति स्वर धृत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धान् इव शयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं ग्रहणम् एव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयान् उपसेवते उत्क्रमान्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मानि अवस्थितं यतन्तो अपि अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयते अखिलं यच्चन्द्रमासि यच्चग्नो तत्तेजो विधि मामकम् गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयामि अहमोजसा उष्णामि च सवि सर्व सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मका अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रिता प्राणपानसमायुक्ता पचामि अन्नं चतुर्विधा सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृति ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वे अहमेव विद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम् द्वामां पुरुष लोके सरश्चर एव च सर सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थ सर उच्यते उत्तम पुरुषस्तु अन्य परमात्मेति उदारत यो लोकत्रयमविश्य बिभर्ति अव्यय ईश्वर यस्माक्षरम् अपि तो अतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तम अतोऽस्मिन् लोके वेदेश्च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमम् यो माम् एव असम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतत् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतः कृतस्य भारत। Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll continue tomorrow. Very, very beautiful verse. So who comes to this realization of performing devotional service and he performed devotional service, how Krishna reciprocates with him? That is in the next 3 verses. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bata I got